Alrighty. Who's ready for the OSL finals? I'm definitely excited. How about you, Rabbit? Are you excited?
I am. I saw some Starcraft being played, so I thought I'd come hang out with you, Zesk. I hope you don't mind.
Yeah, Rabbit's just going to be joining me for hopefully a long cast between our two finalists called Nagnar and Neblime.
Yeah, it should be exciting. A ZVT best of seven. I think definitely going to be dynamic. Two pretty well-known players on in our neck of the woods, so it should be good to see a bit of banter among the players. They probably know each other quite well. They probably practice against each other from time to time, so certainly going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting and it's going to be very enjoyable because I'm sure that they're going to pull out some stuff to trick each other that either of them haven't seen quite before. So it's going to
Yeah.
be quite fun. We're just going to get players have already loaded in and we're just going to get straight into it. All right, in the top right, we have the orange Zerg Nagnar. And in the bottom left, we have the infamous, not Lemon, Neblime.
And we're on Polypoid, I presume.
Yeah, go for some quick polypoid action first up. It's
Solid
actually,
map.
yeah, it's a very solid map. I like it a lot for TVZ. It's very standard. There isn't too much things being thrown at players that they have to deal with in terms of the map. Nothing really working against them. The only thing I think really works against Zerg on this map is like the 12, 6, 9, and 3 o'clock bases. But that's because of the double ramp, and it's kind of hard to like hold both ramps with lurkers. But most Zergs just go for another main anyway, so it's pretty standard and fine.
I think the onus is always on Terran in this match to keep track of the Zerg base count. I think the mineral onis give Zerg a little bit of I want to say an advantage, but they can get up to 4 bases and a pretty high number of hatcheries quite quickly.
Yeah, they can definitely get up to a high number of hatches pretty quickly, particularly in like ZVP or something. But traditionally in the ZVT, you don't usually have that many hatches until quite late in the game. But that's because you're struggling for econ for most games.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And gas is always the most precious resource for a Zerg player, isn't it?
Absolutely precious. So it looks like we're just going to go off for a 12 hatch first from Nagnar. Nothing too fancy, it's pretty standard.
Pretty standard for a ZVT, and looks like Neblime's also going to go for a pretty, I'd say, standard opening on his side as well.
Yeah, it just looks like Rax FE. Usually you would take the gas on 12 if you're going for gas, so it just looks like Rax FE into Bio. Both players playing pretty stock in the first game, which is fair enough, honestly. You're just going to test the ground a little bit, see what the other person's going to throw at you. Maybe they have a strategy that involves getting up to your standard build order first and then, throwing in a curveball later. Definitely possible.
Absolutely. So, do you think someone like Nagnar is capable of pulling in a quick lurker build, or do you think he's just going to stick with a more conventional muta opening?
Nagnar mutas honestly are quite deadly. They are quite deadly. He's definitely been practicing his muta micro a fair bit as of late. But the other thing we also know about Nagnar is he loves Hydralisks. Absolutely. He loves them in ZVZ. He loves them in ZVP. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a Hydra build thrown in here.
Oh, wow. Even in a ZVT, I just thought that was an absolute no-no.
Yeah, you can. There's the traditional 2-hatch lurker, where you could just that's kind of like an all-in. You just sort of just make the lurker and then try and run at the Terran, or maybe drop in the Terran's main, kind of hope for a win that way. Or you can go 3-hatch lurker, a bit more economical opening, but obviously you don't get to put on that harassment quite as early with the mutilus. So that's definitely why you don't see like the pros going lurker that often, but definitely within Nagnar's skill set, I'd say, to go lurker in ZVT.
Well, I hear people debating whether it should be 2-hatch muta or 3-hatch muta. I mean, what are the merits of either strategy?
Two-hatch muta tends to be is obviously a much faster tech, so you get the mutalisks out much quicker, but you have less to start off with, so the Terran doesn't need to add quite as many turrets early on, but they do need to respect it by getting their turrets significantly faster. Whereas with 3-hatch, you have a much higher economy, but your tech is late, which means you get your mutas later, but you get more mutas because of it. So a bit of a trade-off in that regard.
Okay, so sort of like a 9 versus, say, 6 mutas.
Yeah,
kind of
there's obviously way more differences in terms of... it's up to the Terran how Terran can play very differently, I should say, depending on what if it's going to be 3-hatch or 2-hatch. It really changes the course for Terran. They get a lot more options against 3-hatch, that is. But it looks like we're going to go Spire from Nagnar.
And the second hatch in base. Fairly normal versus Terran, I think, to have the second hatch in base.
Yeah.
Or the third, but a natural hatch, as we would call it.
And I know that Nagnar loves having that third hatch in base. I think he calls it 2.5 hatch, or as it's traditionally called. Not quite 3-hatch, not quite 2-hatch, but you still get that extra lava from having that third hatch, but obviously you get your mutas a bit faster.
Neblime killing his own depot here.
That's so annoying.
That's so tilting.
That's so annoying, because if you have like a depot right there, it's so tight, it's just not even funny, and then it makes it embarrassing to get around your own natural. So
all the advantage gained from not building the bunker just evaporated in seconds.
Yeah, you definitely need to build that depot a little bit further up on this matchup. In this spawn, rather, not this matchup. We're getting Stim on the way, we've got +1.
So do you think he's going to keep his bio units back in anticipation of fending off some early muta pressure?
Yes, I definitely, especially cross-spawn.
Okay.
You need to, I think, play much more defensively. Although you could go across the map and apply pressure, it takes way longer to get across the map. And by the time you get it like halfway across the map, there's already mutas out, and there's really the timing's lost. So it's much better to play defensively. But this is a lot of Ling from Nagnar right now. We're definitely looking at like a very high Ling count. Let's say we got 1, 2, like 6 Lings. That's generally a lot for the beginning. It's not so much later on, but it does eat into the economy a little bit.
Sure, those could have been drones, I guess, and that's always the trade-off as a Zerg.
Yeah, losing a muta there is quite a little bit painful, but...
Alright, so 6 coming in. Oh, now down to 5. Okay, so that was pretty well dealt with.
Yeah, a little bit painful there.
So what is talk to me about the transition. So you try and do a bit of early damage as Zerg with your mutas, and when do you go, okay, well that worked or didn't work, and then I'm proceed to my next step? And what do you think Nagnar's next step is going to be in his plan here?
I honestly don't know what his next step is going to be. He could go and opt for no den at all and go crazy Zerg, but I don't believe that's going to be his style, especially the way he's been playing this game. I don't believe it's going to be what he'll opt for. It's not really in Nagnar's dynamic to really go for crazy Zerg, but usually go for a den after X amount of mutalisks. I don't know the exact number of mutalisks because I think it depends on the build and how heavy muta you want to go. However, you do eventually transition to a den and get lurkers while applying pressure with your mutas and using mutas to control the map until the marine count gets too high. When that marine count gets too high, the marines no longer need to respect the mutas, so they can just walk across the map and kill you. So you need lurkers out by then.
Okay, and you as a Terran player, I mean, looking at the supplies being equal at this stage of the game, would you be a bit concerned for Neblime?
I think it's okay. He hasn't really lost any marines at all yet, which is fine.
Okay.
He hasn't really applied any pressure either. Not getting any sunks out does hurt a little bit, but again, Nag also did build some extra Lings, so there is like, it's not a complete, one-sided match yet. It's still very even, still very much anyone's game.
So from a Terran perspective, you occasionally get Mech Man. I think the popular thing now is to do the 8 racks with vessels, maybe sprinkling in a few tanks. I mean, with your knowledge of Neblime, what's his sort of preference? How does he tend to play this match?
Honestly, I see Neblime get, this contrary to popular belief, I see him actually get quite aggressive in TVZ. Almost needlessly aggressive sometimes. He sometimes throws away lots of units. Definitely not doing it in this game. He's definitely playing much more defensive, and I really enjoy to see that. Though he should probably do something about these turrets, maybe? Nah, he'll be right.
Yeah,
he's going
that's
across
11. That's 10
pressure.
mutas versus 1 turret. I think he's going to have to come back, yeah?
Yeah, he's going across the map, as it looks like, and quite a line he needs to ball up a little bit here, but ooh, losing those megs is a bit painful, Rabbit. It's quite.
Ooh, there's another big flock of mutas here as well, and I think they're kind of disconnected from the pack, so this is...
Yeah, it looks
I think
like...
he scanned this bottom right base, and he wants it. That's my hunch. And Nag is going for a counter, which could pay off here, because there's really not much defending Neblime's main.
Yeah, massive counter from Nagnar right now. It looks like, yeah, he's got his Sunkens up. He needs his Sunkens up basically now, because Neblime is almost at his base, and that's going to hurt. I think if it's going to be a massive base race if Neblime can breach those Sunkens. And it's going to hurt Nag a lot more than Neblime. Unless Nag here can do some really critical damage. But it looks like he can't, and it looks like Neblime's actually going to punch through. And Nagnar is going across the map right now to deal with this pressure. But it looks like Neblime is running out of Marines, so I'm not really.
This is going to be really tight. With the reinforcing mutas, I think he's going to hold this without a problem and then be in a real spot of bother.
Yeah, it depends on how well Neblime can get his turrets up back home. And these Marines are cleaned up here. It's definitely going to be a pretty hectic game for Neblime right now, having lost quite a bit of... I think he lost the Rax out of that. Definitely has to rebuild these turrets like ASAP, and also having lost so much buyer, he's going to need a lot of turrets. Nag has got to be feeling pretty good about his position now, although he lost...
He's got a lot of choices now, Zeski. He can take another base, he can reload and harass while Nag's consolidating and licking his wounds and rebuilding. I think he's certainly in a very strong position to almost take this game.
Yes, I definitely agree. He's definitely in a position to just have absolute control over Neblime. And Neblime's pretty much going to be forced to stay in his base for quite a long time. But here comes the vessels now. Not quite with energy, but as soon as they are, these mutalisks are pretty much never going to be an issue. But that's still
the
not
plan with that, just to irradiate, just to make the mutas less effective, particularly because they stack. That's what makes them effective. And obviously when they irradiate a stack, they will die pretty damn fast.
Yeah, very fast. Unless Nag is very quick at splitting them, yeah, they're going to die very, very quickly. But it's fine, because Nag's just going to get into his hive tech, going to get his Hydra Den, Evo Chamber down, second Evo Chamber as well. He's feeling particularly confident.
Double upgrades.
Yeah. Yeah. Because although Neblime's got 1-1, he's barely got any buyer, so he's really got not much pressure here. And Nag can really keep him inside his base after that trade early on.
So are we expecting a switch into hive tech, or do you think we're going to start to see some lurkers now from Nag?
We'll definitely start to see some lurkers now. Almost every Hydra that we've seen this game will be lurkers now. See, we have here the lurker eggs now. They're pretty much all going to be lurkers. There's no reason to use just Hydras in this matchup unless we get later into the game and Nag opts for not Ultralisks, but the very famous Hydra lurker that I know he loves to play.
Yeah. So if that does come out today, that'll definitely be a hype moment, something to look forward to that could happen in the series for sure.
Yeah. He's very proficient with Hydra lurkers. He told me that he actually hates using Ultralisks because it's boring, and he loves using Hydra lurker to smash down those bio lines.
Alright, a bit of a move out from Neblime. What do you think the intention is here?
Definitely to put pressure on Nag here and put a lot of pressure on this bottom base. Nag doesn't quite have the lurker set up here, so he could get caught off guard, Rabbit. I'm a little bit nervous right now.
It's a lot of mutas here, though. I don't know if that's going to be enough.
Yeah, he just managed to get them burrowed in time, so now these plentiful vessels with a lot of energy won't really be able to do much damage here.
Are these mutas stacked, or was it just 2?
No, they're definitely stacked. But there's 2 right now, but they're definitely stacked. But, he's definitely got enough energy to remove his stack over time. So yeah, Nag's got a little bit of a a bit of a timer on him right now to really get those lurkers down and prevent Neblime from really ending his third base here. Because if he loses his third base, it's pretty much GG. There's not much he can do from here with 2 gas.
Yeah, Neblime's recovered really nicely, and this is becoming a very critical base for Nagnar to hold. He didn't expand behind that initial pressure. It is basically still a 3-basing Zerg versus a 2-basing Terran, which as a Terran player is not a bad position to be in.
It really isn't. Having 3 bases, although he's a little bit behind in army supply due to the beginning, having to remake those barrackses. But it's still, it's becoming more of a recoverable situation, although I would definitely say that Nag is slightly ahead. But it will depend on whether or not we see Ultralisks or not, and how well...
Well, with Neblime's third coming up, I think that, if that's allowed to come up without any sort of harassment, I think that's going to swing this game. This is quite a critical moment, I think, the next few minutes.
Yeah, these next few minutes will definitely decide the game pretty soon. It will depend on... Nag doesn't actually have a lot of gas right now, so I'm curious to see if he's made his Ultralisks or not yet. But he could potentially already have Ultras out, in which he should be able to take this 4th base relatively easily. These are only 2-1 Marines right now, and he's got +1 Carapace. So as long as he's got his Ultralisk upgrade, he should be able to break down this firewall. But here we go, with burrowing Lurkers now. How many Marines are we going to get, Rabbit?
Oh, I think it easily 6, 7, 10. Run!
Oh my god. That was actually pretty good.
Pretty good reactions though, to be fair. I think the Neblime reacted pretty well there. Dark Swarm, Terran's favorite thing, of course.
Absolutely. Yeah, nothing more annoying than a Dark Swarm. Neblime has a pretty good contain on both bases. He's got a nice little firewall going around, but obviously couldn't deny Nag's 4th base from going up, which is pretty critical, especially given the beginning of this game. It's going to be hard for Neblime to really shut down that massive Ultra count that's going to come out. But then again, I don't see any Ultra eggs, and Nag has barely any gas, so he's spent a lot.
So how's upgrades looking on the bio side there, Zesk?
We checked, it was 2-1 just before.
Okay, alright. So keeping up nicely with the upgrades.
Yeah, usually you'd have +3 by now, but we must have missed the timing somewhere.
Yeah, I think that harassment probably set him back a bit with the murders.
Quite a fair bit. Still +1 Carapace as well. Very nicely.
A lot of energy, but the energy of both players, or attention of both players, is being split now. Sort of close to Nag's natural, and then down in this bottom right corner where a lot of fights have centered around in this game.
Yeah, definitely the 4th base can be a bit of a hot spot for action. Ooh, got a vessel right there. That's going to hurt a little bit.
So Neblime just staged here, not moving in. You think the thought is this is almost like a soft contain?
Yes, definitely is. You can't actually engage the Zerg here because of the Dark Swarms. Is he going to get that vessel? No, he does not. Because you have the Dark Swarms and the Lurkers, you can't really engage, but rather you set up a little contain and you constantly keep irradiating all the units. A bit of a stray Lurker there.
Alright, and there's not been much map presence from Nagnar recently, so that 3rd base of Neblime is up and saturated and unharassed. It's really helping him a lot.
Yes, it's really going to help him a lot. You're exactly right there. And it looks like Neblime's walls are sort of crumbling a little bit as Nagnar is just keeping the pressure on just a little bit and really dwindling the numbers right now. Ooh,
getting this 4th up in the bottom right was huge for Nagnar. I must admit, I missed that a little bit earlier. But that's, in essence, split the map, which is making Neblime's life really difficult because he's having to move to 2 extremes of the map and figuring out what to pressure when, and that's obviously, in a game of quick decision making, very, very tricky.
Yes, exactly. It's really making it a bit dicey here for Neblime right now to really get anything done. I like the dropship play, but we just lost 1 set of dropships. Oh, we got a D-Ray Matrix, some dropships, Rabbit. I like this. We got a lot of dropships too. 5 dropships.
Getting spicy. Are they going to the main? Where are they going? Come, give me a prediction.
I think they're going to go into the main via the top route, but it looks like we've got a bit of a counterattack coming from Nag. should be held though.
Pressuring this critical third base, okay.
Yeah, if Nag needs to be absolutely on top of this. But it looks like he's already got the Defilers and the Mutalisks into position.
Oh, he's waiting for it.
Yeah.
Okay, gets some out. But I don't think he gets much damage there. Oh. Okay, so a few have gotten out, and a couple of Dark Swarms. That's going to make life really, really tricky for these Marines.
Yeah, unfortunately, he doesn't actually have any like workers or anything up here. So
well, they're getting a bit of damage down. There's only two Sunkens in here, and I don't know where Nag's sending reinforcements from, but his Mutas seem to have, I don't want to say disappeared, but they're nowhere to be seen at the moment. Some Ultras have popped, though. That's spicy.
Yeah, that's definitely going to add to the defense here. But absolutely perfectly timed. Didn't lose his evolution chamber, so hopefully that's +3 or +3 on the way now. Yeah, it's getting a little bit scary for Neblime right now. Our supply's really critically low. We've used so much bio to put pressure on, but it hasn't really paid off at all. And Neblime's opted for the Ultralisk route, so it won't be long, I don't think, until Nagnar just simply moves over his expansions, and then Neblime is...
Yeah.
You can
I think exactly where you're focusing now, it's going to be Ling Ultra and then GG from our Terran player. It's just too much power. Getting those 4 bases up, that extra gas, it's just giving him the econ he needs to get these Ultras out, and I think that's going to be the end of it for Neblime, unless he can pull a rabbit out of a hat.
Yeah, I will be interested if he could pull a rabbit out of the hat, but he did grab all these dropships, and I just don't see it really being possible.
Just don't think the investment paid off on the dropship.
It did not.
It's very expensive to do that drop, and you just didn't get any damage.
You really do need to get that damage, Rabbit. It's crazy how gamble those dropships are. They don't call them lotto ships for no reason. And yeah, we're just seeing Nag grab a 5th base now. He's got everything prepared. Still got a few lurkers left, though he doesn't quite have the ultra count yet because he didn't really have the gas bank. But I don't think
I think that's the reason for the extra base. And he knows now if he just keeps throwing units, he's going to keep Neblime pegged back and have the map control to expand without any concerns of being harassed or shut down.
Yeah. Definitely possible to fight back as Terran. I'm not going to call it just now. But, yeah, it's just not looking very, very, very strong for Neblime after everything he's invested in. It will be interesting to see if he's getting any other tech. Doesn't look like he has a factory landed or anything, or even battle cruisers on the way. So this is really it. We've got 3 vessels in a dream. Nag's going to be absolutely pumping it on Ultralisks and Phylus now. And it's just going to be a matter of time until he grinds down this Terran. A valiant fight. Valiant fight, Rabbit.
Good game. Nice ebb and flow. I think holding onto that bottom right base is probably what won Nagnar the game, to be fair. I think Neblime picking that was the area that he needed to shut down was the right call, but just unfortunately couldn't break it through.
The absolute swarm is coming in now. We got the Scourgeling and a few Defiles backing off a little bit. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how Neblime comes back from here. I think
Vessel!
Yeah.
Run, vessels, run! Every
Neblime's
Terran feeling the pain.
Yeah. Vessel dying noises is honestly the saddest noise in the game.
It's a pretty cool noise, though. Maybe as cool I'm a non-Terran player, I enjoy the sound of it.
I definitely think it's one of the saddest sounds. It sounds like a very happy robot receiving the off switch.
Yes, you have been terminated. Version 7 has come out. Goodbye, version 6.
Exactly, yeah. Still holding on. It's holding on surprisingly longer than I thought. Definitely that missing gas bank did not help Nag to end this game for us.
So talk to me, in tournament play, which you've got a lot of experience in, are energy levels important? Like you know you're paying a best of 7 and you don't think you can actually win the game. Is there a point in fighting it out, or is it smarter maybe just to GG and move on to the next one?
I honestly don't know. It really depends on it's hard to tell that you've won a game when you're actually inside the game, or if you've lost a game.
Yeah, fair enough.
We can easily tell. We've got supply counts, we've got resource counts, we can see everything. It's very easy to make that decision. But when you're actually inside the game, you know, it feels like, okay, maybe I can just do this next play and that will get me into a position that I need to be. It will get very difficult. If you can recognize it, I think there sometimes is some merit to staying in the game if you want to process the loss. If you really want to go,
yep, that's fair.
how did I how did I lose? Especially after a traumatizing loss, I'd say. But
I'm concerned for Neblime's units getting flanked here, and also it looks like there's a counter coming into his natural with these ultras. He cannot be everywhere. It's just not possible, and that's the problem he's got right now.
Yeah, you can actually be everywhere if you're like at a really high supply count as Terran. We're talking like the 800, 180, 190 supply, but at 100 supply, 60 of that is SCVs. Yeah, like we're not.
Ling ultras in the main. This is not looking good.
Yeah. It looks like 12 o'clock's been scouted, but 6 o'clock just hasn't been. Although that 9 o'clock base from from Neb is definitely giving him all the resources he needs to survive, but he calls it. GG is called.
A cracking first game, actually. Very nice, back and forth, but I think just like I said, holding that bottom right base the whole game long, and that beautiful muta harassment sort of around about the 9-minute mark really gave Nagnar a lead that he just didn't ever give back, although I felt that Neblime fought back beautifully to make that a competitive match.
There. All right. In the top left, we have 1-0 Zerg. It is Nagnar. And in the bottom right, we have the infamous Neblime in the bluish grey Terran. I really like that look. So yeah,
I think it's going to be some interesting color dynamics, but the famous favorite orange of our friend Nagnar hasn't steered him wrong yet.
Yeah, he loves his orange Zerg.
And I like this color from Neblime. New color, new map, new day, new game. Let's go.
Let's go, exactly. Yeah. Although it is an interesting choice of map, Rabbit. It's definitely one of the more older maps and a bit ancient in terms of meta. It'll be interesting to see what plan he has for this map. Definitely.
So this is a Neblime choice, right? So that's an important piece of context to have, right?
Yes.
So this Neblime has chosen this map, and there's maybe a reason. We don't know what that reason is, but he does. So we can get excited to see what it is. There is okay, so it's a high onto low, which is fairly conventional. And then, yeah, is it a 4-player map?
It is a 2-player map.
Okay, so everybody knows where the other one is. There's no mystery.
Absolutely none.
All right. I think Nag will stick with 12 hatch. I don't see any reason for him to deviate from that plan. Do we see variations in Zerg opens on 2-player maps versus 4-player maps, or is it kind of just standard no matter what?
It's sort of just standard no matter what. There's not really, like, it's hard to say because it's Hitchhike. I'm a newer Broodwar player. I've only been playing for like the past year or so, so I really don't know the ins and outs of all these older maps. But generally, I'm like Eclipse and, what's the other one? Butter. You don't really see that.
Oh, sorry, there's early gas. I have to pick this up. This is interesting. What are your thoughts on this?
Oh, early gas. Okay, so we're definitely going for like some sort of tech play from Neblime right now. Whether
1-1-1, Factory Man, expanding. What is he going to do? Come on, give us a prediction.
2-port raid. Well, if I have to say something, I think it's going to be 1-1-1, and it looks like it's going to be. I didn't see when the barracks was built, but it looks like it was 8 racks, and it looks like it's going to be 8 racks to 1-1-1. Being a
oh wow! Okay, so this is very, very aggressive, and here come the drones, boys. Yeah. Nag's not messing around here. Wow, this is very, very, very spicy.
You absolutely have to pull drones here to defend and make sure that this bunker doesn't get up or the Marines don't get in. Oh my god, 1 drone goes down. Remember, Rabbit.
Yes, if he's building the bunker though, I don't know if that's going to help. What's up? So if he can rally Marines, which he's got 3 of here, I think this is going to be a very, very dead hatch.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a very dead hatch, unless Nag can really kill these Marines, but it looks like they're just going to get in anyway.
They're in, and that's that. That is a big, big hit now. And behind this, he can go Wraith. He can do a lot of things. He's going to get a lot of time from this dead hatch. What do you do as Zerg here? How do you recover?
Yeah, it's interesting how to actually recover from his position. He's
Ooh,
already
looks
lost,
like a Ling counter.
Yeah, he's already lost three-ish drones, which is pretty bad. You don't want to really lose anything more than 3. But it looks like he's going to just break this bunker. There's only 2 Marines in here, so it's fairly easy to break. No repairing SVBs. Marines get it cleaned up pretty easily. Yeah, it's
But
definitely...
he's not mining gas, so his only counter is Lings. And if Neblime can put up a bunker here, maybe on the ramp and hold the pressure off, and then capitalize on this tech advantage. So I see the starport coming up. I think that's where his brain's going. And also vultures are pretty good against Lings.
Yeah. Vultures are pretty good against Lings. It's going to take a little bit of control from Neblime to kill all these...
This is nice micro here, picking off 1, 2, 3, 4 Lings with the 1 vulture.
Let's see if he gets another one.
Yeah, this is very nice. And another vulture pops. If I'm Nag, I go into my shell now and get up. Okay, Sunken is up. I think he's going to go home. Gas is going. And is the move here Lair or Hydra? I mean, you're under pressure. You need units that can attack air and ground. Is Hydra the play here? Are we going to see some Nag Hydras?
I honestly don't know. I've seen Zergs do both. Definitely, I've seen Soma play Spire. I've seen him play Hydra. It really depends on what Nag's feeling.
Hydra desk coming up in the main. Yeah. So he's read my mind here. He's going to be Hydras. He's gas starved, so this is probably his best option. Let's say gas starved. He's gas delayed because of the successful rush. So I think he sees this as his best move.
Yes, I agree with that. I think Hydra is the best move here, given the late gas and the openings. Especially if Neblime's going to open with 1-1, and it looks like it's going to...
And here comes our first Wraith, Siski. Let's see what he does with him, if he can get some value.
Yeah.
It's going to be drone line harassment. And it's going to be how quickly the Hydras come out to counter.
He should be going for Overlords, I think, inside the main. But yeah, potentially drones as well.
Why are your vultures standing here, Neblime? Kill drones, please. He can't hear me.
Very unfortunate. Very unfortunate.
Oh no! Every Terran supporter in the world is looking at this and dying a little bit inside. It is so sad. Alright, so the Wraith is in and he's going again? Where are you going, Mr. Wraith?
Looks like he's gonna go pick up this Overlord. Oh, no, he just
misses it. There you found him. He found him. He heard you. He heard you. Tuned into your audio. The vultures have gone somewhere. Where did they go?
Looks like they've gone back home.
One's gone home, 2 have gone home, and 1 is scouting around the map a little bit.
It looks like we're going to go into Valkyries. Maybe with a tank push, maybe a tank Valk push.
Your thoughts on that? I mean, he flew in with the Wraith, so he saw that Nag had a Hydra den and hadn't even started his lair.
Yeah,
so,
I think he's going to stop making...
I think that's drones.
Why he planted the...
Nice drone pull here though, and he didn't even get a single drone kill there. That was really nice reactions from Nagnar.
Yeah, very nice drilling too, drilling right in between there. I think it was going to be Valkyrie, and then he saw the den and was like, yeah, not going to do Valkyrie anymore, we're just going to go tank, which adds the reason why he added the machine shop, I guess, why he landed it.
And also interesting in Neblime taking an expansion here, so knowing that even though his rush got him a bit of a lead, to consolidate this lead he needs to also keep tabs with his macro. I mean, he can't die. There's nothing Nag can do to him right now anyway. Perhaps a 3-hatch Hydra bust is probably the worst thing you could potentially worry about. So expanding and strengthening his macro position is probably the right way to go at this stage of the game.
I definitely agree. I think Neb's in a very good position, and doing a 1-base build like this when an already crippled Zerg can be pretty powerful. But we'll see how Nagnar responds. It looks like he's setting...
The Hydras are coming down.
Hydras across the map.
Stopped. They've stopped. Why have they stopped? Oh, this was good. We were talking about them. Nope, they're going back again. These Hydras have got turrets. They don't know which way to go. What to do.
They're not quite sure. They're a bit clueless.
Alright, they found their direction in life, and it is to wreck this bunker before it comes up. There's no mines with these vultures, so they're not as useful as they theoretically could be.
Yeah,
do you know what I miss about casting live versus from replays?
Yeah.
You can't see if Hydra range is in the production tab. You know, you've got to go and look at the building and go, what are you making?
Yeah, Yeah,
It's a
and if
bit
it's
of a
Zerg, you
pain.
can't see anyway because none of their buildings blink. But
Exactly.
we can see that he's got a hatchery and a spire on the way.
I think the siege mode from Neblime was perfectly timed. So he set up this expansion beautifully, and I think he's still maintaining a pretty good lead in this game. So Spire is up. Do you still expect some trademark Mutalisk harassment from Neblime in spite of the way this game started?
Honestly, I don't see any harassment really coming from.
This has become a scouting wraith. This wraith is just intel for Neblime now.
Yeah, I'm picking up any stray overlords. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's hard
Which
to
is
tell.
reducing his vision for sure. I think Nag's pretty blind in this game, which is also probably making this a harder game to play out.
Very much so, yeah. I think Neblime's in a very, very comfortable position here. Not quite in a winning state, but definitely comfortable. And Neb definitely saw the Spire. Again, those turrets up now. Looks like Nag is actually, you're right.
Here come a few mutas. The eBay is floating, and the turrets are coming up. So Neblime's anticipated that he would receive some harassment. This doesn't look like an overreaction to me, though. I think this is probably with 4 turrets in the main, 1 coming up here near the ramp, and 2 in the naturals. Probably okay against any harassment, to be honest.
Yeah, it's pretty much gonna hold it absolutely, if not a little bit overkill with the Wraith Volk and the Marines. I just don't see how you would get the Mutalisk count to really put pressure on before Volks or vessels are out. And it definitely, the Volks are out now, so it's definitely going to be interesting for Neblime. For Nag, sorry, to do any sort of harassment. We'll see what he can get done. Maybe he can pick off a Valkyrie or 2. There we go, getting at least 1.
That was nicely done.
But losing all the Scourge in the process.
Scourge is the most tilting unit in Starcraft. I don't think you can ever tell whether it did good damage or not, unless it's a straight 2-to-1 engagement that you can clearly see. But in a pack like that, it's always difficult to tell.
Yeah, it's definitely very frustrating when Scourge and bug out. It looks like there's a Queen's Nest on the way, going for a very...
Yeah, I think Nag, knowing where he is in this game now, is taking a more aggressive approach, hoping that Neblime gives him the time he needs to both get up his third base and take up into Hive. With the Queen's Nest up, is it for Queens specifically? In other words, are we going to see some spawn broodlings, or are we going to see a transition into Ultras? Because Neblime seems to have stopped his tank count at 3. So what do you think his plan are? In other words, I like to use the phrase, what units does he want to go and kill Nagnar with in this game, in your opinion, Zez?
I'm not entirely sure, because Neb still has 1 factory, 1 starport, and 1 barracks. Like, he's not really adding any production facilities.
I have to interrupt. It's here. Hydra Lurker. The thing you said he does, it's happening.
There we go.
It's strutting down the middle of the map. I'm actually getting quite pumped up. This is exciting stuff. Let's go. Hydra Lurker, Nagnar Neblime, OSL finals. Exciting stuff.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how this is going to work, though, because the natural siege tank, the natural counter to both these counters is I've already spotted the answer, siege tanks. So it is going to be interesting to see what damage Nag can actually do. This is a pretty solid defense. We've got tanks everywhere. We've got depot.
Depot wall just coming up. Yeah. It's like Fort Knox here. Pretty hard to break. But do you think it's there as a... I don't think he's planning on moving in. I think he's using this to buy time, to saturate his third base and to get his tech tree going. His Hive is going now. I think this is a time-buying tactic and nothing else. In fact, as I said, he's moving back.
Yeah, that is an interesting tactic, but Neblime never actually saw it, so it didn't really do its job then. It didn't really scare Neblime at all. But I think...
he scouted the third here. Now, he may move his units into pressure this third if it can be directly accessed. I'm just not familiar with the map. So what is the pathing for ground units? Can they just walk straight up? Of course they can. Okay. So they can just walk straight up to this third. It's not very well defended yet. There is a tank here, though. There are some mines. So I think Neblime understands and is giving himself every opportunity to hold that base. But Nag scouted it pretty quickly. And now we have a 3-basing Terran versus a 3-basing Zerg. Not a good position for the Zerg player.
Yeah, but the third base can't be simply walked up to. There are power generators that Nag's got to bust down first. So I think Neblime's relying on them as sort of the spotter at least. Not necessarily defense. But it should be interesting to see how Nagnar's actually going to punish that third, because he's got a very land-based army. He's got this small Mutaforce out, but that's not really enough to really break down this third base. And I don't really think Nag's really interested in this third base anyway for the time being. It is only a mineral only, so it's not really a huge, massive deal if the Terran holds on.
Well, he's busy breaking down the Xel'Naga Temple, which, if anybody wanted to know, has got 5,000 hit points. And I think it's so that he can take this bottom left base or potentially harass. Otherwise, I don't know why he would knock this down unless it's potentially for this base over here.
I think it's definitely to break down this third base. It will be entirely dependent on whether Neblime actually sees this attack coming, which I definitely think he will, since he has 2 mines placed there, very nicely done, in which Neblime should be able to rotate some tanks here and defend it, and that will be that. We got vessels out, still got our Valkyries in our raids.
So he killed the 2 temples and he moved away. Okay.
So this has been a very interesting game, but it looks like Neblime is going to opt for mech, which is interesting. We got double armory.
Ah, yes. Only one shop, so what's going to come out of here? Goliaths?
The shop tanks, purely tanks.
No, I mean the other factories. We only got one shop, so what's going to come out of the other? Is Goliath build, do you think?
I think he's got the vessels and the Valks. So I think it's going to be Vulture, tank Vulture against the heavy Hydro Lurkicon. So yeah.
Okay.
If Nag sees that it's mech, which I'm not sure if he has yet, I still think Nag might be unsure what this is actually going to be. He should be pumping out queens. I know Nag likes to go queens against mech Terran and just brutaling every single tank in existence.
That could be exciting to see. I think also when players incorrectly anticipate what unit composition their opponents are going with, it can cause some fun games and some weird fights, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely this has definitely been a very abnormal game.
Well, on a map with 2 Xel'Naga temples on top of each other, both with 5,000 hit points each, you were asking for a weird game. There was just no other way around it. There is a horde of orange coming down. There's a fight looming any second here. I think it's a storm on the natural. Or is he going to pivot to this third?
I don't see how he could pivot to the third from here. This really only goes to the natural, so...
Of course, yeah. Unless it's drops, potentially. I don't see if he's reset drop. There's a lot of overlords with this army.
You could potentially be right. It could be overlords. It could be like a flank. He's definitely got units prepped here. Throwing away his mutas... Don't know why he's throwing them away. I guess he wants to buy up supply, but he's already got a lot of the excess supply, so I'm not really sure what that was. Oh, drones are kind of spiraling out of control here, trying to reach that base.
I think this game is evening out. I mean, Nagnar's ahead in supply. I mean, this shouldn't be the case if we think about how this game started and the opening that Neblime had.
Yes. I'd say that Nagnar is a tiny bit ahead in supply, given that most of the units are, one supply worth of units. But against mech Terran, this is not really... You can't really break Neblime. So it's sort of just even. Like, it really did just even out. The damage that Neblime did early game wasn't really capitalized on. And now,
yeah, fair enough.
Nag is just sort of pulling this into a different sort of game. It looks like Nag is expanding top half of the map to hold that ground and really hold that top section of the map, which could be interesting whether or not this army that's going to break out pretty soon is just going to go straight up to this base, and it's going to put Nag on the back foot if he does lose a base essentially for free.
I agree with that, but also having a look at this map, there's not a lot of bases on this, so Neblime's window to come in and take this base out is pretty narrow.
Rabbit! We got a drop.
Through.
We got a massive drop coming on here.
Oh, here it comes. Okay, so my prediction that he was going to drop this base is looking possible. The Overlords are not going where I'd expect them to go. They're going sort of... Okay, wait, now they've turned around again. They keep doing this to us. These caster cursing us. Alright, so the Hydras are knocking down the power stations anyway. They're going to eat some siege tank fire. I don't know why I'm not allowed to see what's inside these Overlords. Unless they're empty, in which case.
Nah, they're definitely filled. Live casting just doesn't let you see what's in transport.
Okay, so we left to speculate like all the fans.
Yeah,
oh, that's cool.
And we've got a bit of a fight going on at the top half of the map.
Alright, this is 3 tanks versus 18 Hydras, I want to say. They're going to clean these tanks up in a jiffy, and that's that pretty nicely held.
Yeah.
There's Vultures, there's Goliaths. I think this is... some of these Hydras are not engaging though. I think Nag's attention might be elsewhere, although he pulls back to consolidate more units. This is a big fight and a critical moment in this game.
Yeah, it looks like Nag is peeling off the Hydras now, which is not ideal for Nag, but Neblime isn't really able to punish that base in the top corner for Nagnar, so definitely Nagnar is still in a decent position here, but yeah, Nagnar's probably not liking his unit comp here. He really doesn't have anything to deal with this tanks, you know, he's just got Hydras and he's just throwing Hydras at it, and it's really not solving the issue. And it looks like Neblime...
these tanks are just eating up these Hydras in no time, and I think Nagnar very quickly took a defensive posture on this base. There's 4 Sunkens here that are not going to help him at all against these tanks. He needs a solution for these tanks, Zeski. What are his options?
Well, as you say, and as I said before, he's got Queens on the way, so this is a really low tank count, so if he can get these Broodlings off, he can clean up these tanks, and then suddenly...
Here's one! Oh, another one! As you said it, he did it. That is beautiful. Yep. Well done. I need a third. He got every one of them. Excellently done. So now... Hydras versus Vultures is a totally different kettle of fish.
Yes, absolutely. Although these mines will make it a little bit interesting, but it looks like the Broodlings are going to soak up the mines. Beautifully done.
Oh, that is beautifully done. Still very even in supply. This is a titanic game. Not the normal unit compositions you'd see. Good job getting some more tanks on the field here, shredding these Hydras. Although they're right on top of them now, so they're probably going to clean them up. It'd be a good idea maybe to move these vessels.
Yeah, maybe, but... it looks like Neb might be trying to reinforce this position. He really doesn't want to lose this position. He's got a command center on the way. He really wants to take that, I want to say, 1 o'clock base, sort of in the center of the map. Yeah, Nag doesn't actually have a Nidus Canal towards his base, so reinforcing is quite tricky for him.
Yeah, I think that's something you could probably consider getting. That would be a pretty handy asset for him to have, to be able to reinforce from any of his hatcheries as opposed to trying to move units on what is already a very cumbersome map to move things around.
Yeah, it definitely is a cumbersome map to move things around, and that Nidus Canal would absolutely rub it.
And here it comes. As we're talking about it, it's popped up here, so he's listening to you.
Yeah, I'm giving him insider intel.
Insider intel, there we go. Yeah. Coach Zeski in the house. Alright, so is this posturing from Neblime more about taking these, what I want to call no man's land bases that are kind of just off to the center of both sides here?
It is... I don't know, I've got no thoughts on it really.
Bottom left here, there's a few tanks that have moved in to try and pressure this new base of Nags, but I think... well, I don't think he's going to have enough. Nope, 2 versus 1. He's going to be able to put some pressure on this newly established base here, although he has a whole clump of lurkers and hydras that could come down and support if needed.
Bit of a battle happening on 2 fronts right now. He's got...
all over the show, and more units coming down from the natural, so I think Nag's going to clean this up pretty easily. I think the supplies, I'm not kidding you, have been 124 to 125 for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, there's just no one's really... everyone's just bleeding units and not really able to hold anything. But it looks like Nag's doing a really good job peeling off tanks without using queens. Being quite
he's pressuring. He's moving in his lurkers here on this natural. I think there's only 1 tank here, nothing else. This is going to do some damage. There's a lot of SCVs here. Zeski must be close to 20. This could be this breakthrough we were talking about.
GG is called.
And he GG's. That was a huge hit from Nag. And I think the problem there that in that game for Neblime was that he just couldn't break any expansion that Nagnar took. And so that just managed to press him across the line. Another really interesting and exciting plus 20-minute plus game. GG. 2-0 in the series.
And there's been some pretty exciting games. But game 3, we have in the top left, we have in yellow this time, Neblime. And in the other side of the map, we have the classic orange Zerg 2-0 Nagnar.
And we are on Vermeer 2.1, because the numbers matter. We've all memorized 1.8 and 1.7, so we need to know the difference. And yeah, I'm pretty excited. Do you play this one on ladders, Esk? I think it's quite a favored map. People like this one.
Yes, I definitely play this on ladder. It's one of my favorite maps for almost every matchup. Even when I off-race a Zerg, I like this map. It's quite enjoyable.
Yeah, no, it is a good one. It is a good one. So some shout outs to some people in the chat. Sorry, we were trying to get the hang of live casting and we've neglected our chat. That's actually my fault. So good evening to Swami, Rail 111, Alex Carey, who is, I think his Lana is hot, is his alias on Discord, Albert Shilgan, and that's about it. And I have a squibbly, is that the right word? Scribbly? Scribbly as in writing in crayon. Probably not what you intend with your name, but that's what I went with. Anyway, thanks very much for joining us. We are having fun, and this is a cracking series. So far, 2 games, both over 20 minutes. So no cheeses, 4 pools, or quick GGs. Just 2 very evenly matched players giving each other a tough run. And I think the theme of the series thus far has just been holding on to every base taken. And that's where Nagnar has been able to win. Sort of as simple as that thus far.
Yeah, it really has been like that. It's been absolute split map situations, you know, hanging on to everything. Except for the units, apparently. Apparently we bleed lots of units, but, you know,
yeah,
it is...
There have been some fun trades. Nagnar sticking with the winning formula of the 12 hatch. Neblime sticking with the barracks out towards the ramp. Do you think he's going to move back towards that sort of vessel bio that I thought was serving him pretty well in Game 1? I think Game 1 was a game of finer margins. Potentially Game 2 a couple more errors in terms of unit choice, perhaps that bit Neblime a little bit towards the end of that game. I mean, in terms of his favorite or his most comfortable build, would you say it's probably playing with bio?
Yeah, I'd definitely say that SK Terran for Neb in TVZ is definitely his preferred way of playing. I haven't really seen him play that much mech against Zerg, but then again, I know Neblime loves sieging tanks and then holding a position forever, like we saw last game. He did a very good job with only 1 factory with a shop. He held on for quite a long time, in fact, basically until he was 200 supply and able to add like 6 more factories. It was definitely an interesting game, but I haven't seen quite something like that out of him. It's definitely been a very heavy bio user, Neblime.
And Nag sticking with his 2.5 hatch. I'm just say hello to some people in the chat. Dada, hello, nice to see you. So some of our European friends are checking out the OSL. Do let us know what you think of the way we play here. Our command center spin the other way because we're in the other side of the world, but otherwise we play the same game for the most part.
Command centers are spun the other way. The whole map's upside down.
Absolutely.
Is he gonna get this SCV, man? I mean, it's stuck in the mineral line. Oh, it just gets out.
Neblime's investing his solitary 300 APM in the life of this SCV. He's making it count.
He doesn't want to get sued for worksite injuries, you know, worksite fatalities.
Absolutely. I think Dala coming up with some really funny emotes here of a spinning head. That's what it's like living in Australia virtually every day. You just walk around the street and your head spins round and round.
That and the kangaroos hopping down the street, you know.
Critical questions, Esk. Is the depot in the right place this time, or are we going to see another dead depot?
No, definitely in the right place this time. No.
Yeah.
Give me a nice.
I think it was to make room for his comsat in Game 1, which he won't have a problem with, yes. So, okay. Yeah. Well, that's good. That's
absolutely
good. All
right. It's really only on Polypoid in that spawn do you have that issue. You definitely have to place your depot further up than otherwise normally comfortable. Which really sucks because usually you'd like to put the depot there right next to the ramp and then like drill the SCVs onto the ramp if there's a ling flood, but you really can't do that on that spawn on Polypoid. It's quite annoying.
Nag making 6 lings again with his 2.5 hatch build. I think it's probably something he does with a high level of intent. In fact, I think when I chat to him about the series afterwards, I'd love to hear his thoughts on why he does this, because he's such a technical player. He kind of thinks out almost everything he does in advance. So he must obviously feel that the economic trade-off is worth it for some reason, whether it's scout denying or whatever the reason is, but it's definitely quite interesting.
Yeah, he actually built these lings later this time as well, as I recall. He built them a little bit earlier last time, and this time he built them quite a fair bit later. It will be interesting to see what his logic is on lings. I always like hearing Nagnar maths, always quite interesting.
Absolutely, for sure. We have a Submana in the chat who has given me a cat and a Dorito emote, so thank you for that. I was looking forward to having one of those before supper, so appreciate it.
If this is Oceanic Starleague, why isn't 100% island map pool? That's actually a very good question, and we'll be fixing that for OSL too. Every single map will be on an island, just, one big island.
And the critters will be kangaroos, because the standard critters are not going to work.
Although technically, OSL, Oceanic Starleague, includes non-Australian countries as well, although we have to have...
yes, absolutely.
We did have 2 Australians making it to the finals this time, and I think a mostly Australian players this time.
We had one from New Zealand, I think.
I think we had one New Zealander. Yeah, one New Zealander.
Yeah. All right. At some point, we'll actually start talking about the game. I promise.
Yeah, it's very, very standard. Oh, we've got a 5th Rax coming up. That's interesting.
Maybe a little more aggression out of Neblime. I think that probably, if we could be a little bit critical of the first 2 games, perhaps just a little bit too defensive in certain patches, giving Nag a lot of time to build a very powerful macroeconomic advantage. Here come the mutas, though.
Well, I think you're going to get a war, exactly what you want then, Rabbit, because that 5th Rax definitely screams, I want to attack. So definitely going to be putting on some aggression. But
Nag sees the 5. Do you think that adjusts droning versus building more units at this stage?
Yeah. Nag will know that this is 5 Rax plus 1 now.
Okay.
So he'll definitely be adding on to the defense pretty soon, just seeing what sort of damage he can get with these mutas. Absolutely beautiful. Picking off quite a few SCVs there, not losing and taking too much damage. Very nicely done.
No, I think he held every mutas, just a couple of bruises. That's very good play. Nicely done.
Very nicely done. This is about 2-ish groups of Marines, I'd say. And yeah, it's going to be, that 3rd hatch is definitely going to help Nag deal with this aggression. He's already got the lings all the way in here now, into position. Really ready to deal with this biopack, and we'll see how this fight goes. Ooh, bit of a dive there, and not really getting hits off.
This is just too many Marines. I just don't think he's going to be able to pick off. They're nicely grouped together. What is the correct medic to Marine ratio? And if you tell me calculus, I'm going to come over there and smack you.
I like to do 2 medics per group, but I'm definitely probably wrong about that. I don't actually know the exact.
Okay, let's split off a bit here. So he's getting a few. That was nice. Good micro from now. Good patience as well. Finding a gap and going for it as opposed to throwing them away. But I think the Blime's now decided, let's move. And I think he's going to try and press possibly the bottom right. It's difficult to tell. He's kind of still posturing at this stage. Obviously very wary that these mutas can come and backstab as these units inevitably spread out when they move.
Yeah, it's very much a dance. Like as you said, like they just spread out constantly. They love going in lines. You really
like these 2 here in the front. They really wanted to die. They didn't want to stay with their friends.
This is going to be quite a bloodbath, Rabbit.
This is a critical moment, and this is such a good flank. I think these Terran units are all not long for this world. Goodbye, rip.
Absolute surround. Beautifully done by Nag, and that is quite a significant event that happened, because now Neblime's back to very, very low bio count. Luckily, he's got the extra Raxes on the way, but his tech's definitely...
I just don't think he has the SCV count to run the Raxes there. It's just he doesn't have enough econ to keep 6 Rax pumping constantly.
Well, he's only got 5, but he should be okay. His tech will be a bit late. And it is late already, but he should be okay to survive and hold on, especially if he can put on some pressure now. Like, he's already got a nice group of Marines here, picking off these lings.
Alright, so they move away. Interestingly, Nag's got a pretty big gas bank. Obviously, there are some very gas-heavy units that can come into Zerg's arsenal in the not-too-distant future. Have we got a shot of his main? Has he got a Queen's Nest going yet at 10 minutes?
I'll check right in a second. I just want
yeah.
to watch this Muta fight happen, and wow, that's a lot of picks. These Mutas are really getting value today in this game.
Yeah, massive, very beneficial. And I mean, it's 94 to 60. It's a very commanding lead. And the Hive is coming up as I expected it would. It's been consistently 9 minutes in all 3 games, more or less, that he transitions into Hive.
Yeah, and we got our 2 ports down now for Neb as well. So we should be getting +1 armor pretty soon. Yeah, Neb should be able to just move out fairly easily once his vessels come online, but obviously they're going to be a little bit late with some very nice marine microages then, picking off those 1 meter at least.
Yeah, I think the micro from both players in the series and in this game has been more than decent. I think at a glance, Nag is on 4 base, Neblime on 2. I think if Neblime doesn't kill a base pretty soon, he's gonna have a very tough time trying to win this game.
Yeah, and this 4th base already coming up is very much a telegraph that Nag is very much ahead in this game, because he took this 4th base before his Defiler mound was even finished, but definitely before Consume was finished. So yeah, losing that massive bio early on was definitely a detriment. As Nagnar said in the chat, yeah, T is looking very, very behind. I wouldn't say dead, because I'd love, like, Neblime has been in I'd say when Neblime's back is against the wall, that's when he like pulls out some shenanigans and able to take it back. But it is definitely going to be interesting how he's going to do that. Whether we're going to see
unfortunately, shenanigans don't kill lurkers, although vessels might, and we have a few with this group. So let's see how we use those.
Yeah, they've each got enough for 1 irradiate each.
And there's 5 here, and some mutas in support. I just don't see him being able to break any position. Here comes the Scourge to also ruin the party. Oh! Those were pretty vulnerable vessels. The one's not in a good spot.
Oh, are they
he's just going to stand there.
Nah, not quite. Just gets away. Scourge are very, very annoying.
Data saying dropships give me chills as Zerg. Is that an option for Neblime at this stage?
Definitely an option. But as we've seen, Nag is quite on point with his dropship defense. So
absolutely, and the investment is so high. We saw in game 1 when it doesn't pay off, it just sets you so far back as Terran.
It really does. You really sacrifice like a lot of other tech and vessel count and stuff. It's definitely an uphill battle for Neblime right now, but not impossible. But we have got very nice lurker counts at each of the bases. Looks like he's going for an aggression on this top base.
I heard some overlords get loaded for a drop. I think Nag might be doing the drop option.
Should be interesting because he's got slow overlords still.
Or free Defiler there, a little bit of a slip.
Very annoying that happens. But I think we've got our signature Hydra Lurker going on here. Again this game, Rabbit.
The gift that keeps on giving, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll need to see, does he have... He's got a physics lab down for BCs, but it doesn't look like he's landed his factory for tanks. So,
okay.
Definitely going to be a little bit harder to hold on to those, hold off those Hydras.
Certainly will be. But the first time if we do see a battlecruiser in the series. Generally in this matchup, battlecruiser a late game unit. I mean, when do you tend to pull it out based on sort of what sort of Zerg composition is battlecruiser a decent counter to?
Personally, I have to say again. Personally, I don't know the exact answer on this, though it would be nice to know. Personally, I go BCs after I take my 3rd base and I get a 3rd gas, and that way you've got enough for your vessels. You get enough to buy your +3 weapons. Should be 2-1 now, yep. What's our carapace at? Still 1. You get enough to get your vessels, get your upgrades, and also get your additional tech. So, very nice when you've got that 3rd gas pumping. But I told a lie. I thought it was Hydra Lurk with the amount of Hydra Lurkers we were fighting against. But it is in fact going to be Ultralisks again.
I think the Ultra served him well, particularly in game one. It was kind of the knockout unit, the one that he used to then storm and finally break what was in that game Neblime's third base. I think here it might just be to confront this bio ball head on. Well,
they're definitely the easier unit to use. When you've got like multiple groups of Hydra Lurker, bit of a trail going on there. When you've got multiple groups of Hydra Lurker, it can be quite difficult to really, like, you know, as you can see here, get the swarm down, get the lurkers planted. It's very much micro dependent. And here comes our first battle cruiser.
Oh, he's arrived. I reckon a few Scourge will be made. I think the one thing I wanted to ask, do you think that Nag's taken a few, I wouldn't say questionable trades, but maybe trades that he wouldn't take if he didn't feel that he was in such a strong position?
Definitely. I think he has gone a tad aggressive, but that's usually normal. But it obviously didn't pay off quite as well. Neblime's
big
really
horde of yellow moving down here. I think he wants to try and take this base. I don't know how well defended this is. What do we have here? We have some Scourge. Oh, it's just coming up now. Okay. So this is an expansion that's potentially brand new. He could shut this down. Oh, Lurker Spines. Dead Marines. Pain.
Yeah, definitely quite painful here. This is definitely a greedy move right here, going for this cross map, double expand. It's definitely really hard to hold on to this, and there's absolutely nothing to stop these lurkers from being irradiated and then eventually pulverized by this wall of bio. But I think this is really distracting from the main game, which is Nag is still pumping on 4 gas, which is eventually going to turn into a lot of Ultralisks. That's going to be very scary.
I think gas is his challenge here, because I mean floating 4,000 minerals. I think he probably would be maxed out if he had the gas for the composition that he's probably after to try and take Neblime down here in the mid game.
Usually do float a lot of resources, and you turn all those extra minerals into lings. But yeah, maybe he could pop down like maybe an extra hatch too. I agree, but. The gas, I think, being so low as it is, stems from the fact that he built a lot of lurkers and hydras earlier.
Yeah, Data's saying Neblime fighting really hard. I agree. It's been very tenacious this whole series.
Yeah.
And his challenge has just been killing a base, and still he hasn't been able to get it done. Hopefully he can do something about this bottom left position.
He does kill the Guardian Ultralisk, but it looks like the reinforcements.
Yeah, unfortunately these Lings mutas are just going to tidy this up.
Yeah, I think Neblime, when his back is against the wall, like, he does some of his best plays. He's definitely a player that he just takes a deep breath and goes, okay, I need to do this, I need to get this done, and we're just going to play solidly from there. Maybe pull out a gimmick or two to see if we can get back into the game.
I think Nagnar has been relentless, Zeskin, throwing units top left, bottom left, or just constantly taxing the number of units that Neblime has, his positioning of those units, and just to try and hold, and then also try and pressure himself. It's just, like we said in an earlier game, unless you're at about 180, you cannot be everywhere as Terran.
You really can't, and he's definitely like even lower supply count than he was in that first game. It's very much an uphill battle, very, very much. And, you know, Neblime is getting his 4th base now. He could add more Raxes. I haven't checked how many Raxes he's got now, but there is always a chance that he can come back from these sorts of games. I'm not ruling it out. Though it is looking very unlikely, and it's getting more unlikely by the minute. The longer Nag minds.
I just think the ultra count is going to hit critical mass. He's already moving out here. This Ling Ultra comp, there's a reason you see a lot of good Zerg players use it, because it's just really strong.
It really is. It's just Ultralisks are so powerful. They've got 2 carapace, 2 damage. We're 3 attack from Terran, but I don't think it's going to be enough, especially with these supply counts looking at the way it is.
How's that kill count on our 2 battle cruisers? Have they been earning their money?
5 and 2, I wouldn't say so. I'd say it's mostly Lings.
Alright, so this 3rd that you mentioned now, obviously an attention area of Nagnar's, because if he shuts this down, probably ends the game.
This will end the game, yeah. There's just absolutely no way that Neblime's Nat and Main will have the resources required. I reckon the Nat's nearly mined out, and there we go.
And that's it, GG. A valiant game, but I think class from beginning to end there from Nagnar. He, I think fair to say that was probably his strongest of the 3 performances.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Dada saying GG to both players, Albert Shigan as well. Yeah, it was a good one. So 3-0, it is a best of 7, so we have at least one more game to go. Let's hope that Neblime can put one up on the board.
Yep. And we're going to see if Nagnar takes it 4-0, or if Neblime can finally do that reverse sweep that, you know, I don't expect to happen, but will hopefully happen. We do like to see. Alrighty, in the top spawn, we have the 3-0 Zerg himself, Nagnar.
Playing orange, big surprise.
Big surprise.
Ah, pink. That's been what's missing all along. In the bottom or the mid-right position, Neblime playing pink. Pink is power, and this is how he's going to turn the series.
That's how he's going to turn it around, Rabbit. Like, magenta, that gives you all the power you need. Although,
that's it.
This is going to be a hot take, chat. Alright, I know people are going to be angry with me, but I do not like magenta on any of the races. I think it looks hideous.
Well, I'm just thinking, mate, imagine you're a vulture and you get given your biker suit and your bike and it's bright magenta. How rugged are you feeling when you're going to drive out there and plant your spider mines? I
mean, you'd feel pretty cool, right? But, I don't know, I just think it looks bad. It just doesn't really work for Starcraft Remastered.
Yeah, it's not the nicest color to cast in, but we have to call the action regardless, and it doesn't make me any less excited. I have a prediction for you. Nagnar's going to go 12 hatch. Do I have any takers?
Almost certainly. Oh, nope. As you say it, that is a caster curse.
I just cast a curse myself. Yeah. So this looks like a overpool.
Yes.
Maybe a bit more aggression?
Yes, I'm fairly certain that was an overpull. We see the second overlord out. So, yeah, maybe a bit more aggression, maybe anticipating aggression. We're not really quite sure yet what the mentality was behind it. We'll have to see how many lings he produces, I guess. But yeah, he's definitely expecting some shenanigans to happen. Honestly, I thought more shenanigans will happen, especially on the Hitchhiker game, but Neb's been playing very stock standard, relying on those mechanics to really pull them ahead rather than unique and interesting strategies.
Another early guess.
Yeah, looks like maybe Nag was right. Maybe there are shenanigans coming. We don't know what this gas is going to be yet, of course. Though we do see the wall come up. This is very ling tight, and the Marines are going to pop out on the bottom right here. So that's going to be quite neat with this spawn. Usually this spawn
we have a prediction in chat. It's an anti-8-Rax BBS type thing. If I wasn't dumb and knew how Terran worked, I would be able to explain what that meant. Something about a bunker rush, maybe?
Yes. 8-Rax is when you build a Rax on 8 supply.
Okay.
And you do a bunker rush into the nat.
Similar to game 2, but he may try and pull it off again.
BBS,
and maybe that's why the overpull from Nagnar, because that would be a pretty good counter.
That's what I suspected. I suspected it was more defensive than it was aggression.
Yeah.
To anticipate that Rax BBS, especially for when everything's on the line for Neblime, he'd be tempted to do that 8-Rax or BBS shenanigan. And yeah, to answer your question though, Rabbit, BBS is basically double 8-Rax.
Okay.
So it's like all-in version of 8-Rax.
The factory's coming up, so there's definitely some sort of variation to how he's played so far in this series. Presumably a barracks is going to lift off, some units are going to move out, and it's going to be maybe not an all-in, but certainly an aggressive rush.
Yeah, it depends whether he could go starport and just do like 1-1.
There we go. That is 1-1-1. Sylphid's is a good map for this, I think, because you can't. There's no ramp. Double starport. What is going on? The power of magenta is making Neblime a madman.
2-port Wraith. This is going to be interesting. So Obviously not quite one-on-one to an expansion, but instead going to have a lot of raids, and we're going to have some reverse muta harassment going on.
Are we going to see an armory and some Valkyries killing overlords, like in a PvT with or PvZ with Corsairs, but Valkyries playing the part?
No. What ends up happening is going to be more, the Zerg has to defend from the wraiths that go across the map.
So wraith harassment here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll see maybe Spores, maybe Hydra. I wonder if this Sunken's going to gather up in time. This Vulture's nearly here, man.
But Nag wouldn't have seen the 2 star ports necessarily, so he's only seen a Vulture and a wall. So how would he know, or when will he know what he's up against? When he sees the first few wraiths?
Yeah, when he sees 3 wraiths, he'll know. But that was very nice. Nag definitely had a bit of link control there, but
yeah, that was
spacing
very good.
out that Vulture, very nicely done.
Have we got an Evo in the main?
No, we got a Spire.
Spire. Okay.
He won't know that it's 1-1-1 yet until it's he sees the Wraith, then he won't know it's 2 port until he sees the other
All right.
2.
So how does he react? Because his Zerglings must have seen that wraith.
Well, until he sees those 2 other Wraiths, I expect him to then get Overlord speed with a lot of Muta and Scourge to really like hammer down those Wraiths and then put the pressure on after that, because Neblime needs the damage. This is like, I don't want to say it's all in, but like maybe semi all in. You've got to get damage with these Wraiths.
So this is going to be an air with air fight, but these Wraiths should be able to pick off some drones pretty uncontested here, although I guess what's coming out of these eggs, I can't see a production tab, but it's going to be Scourge.
Yeah, we should see Scourge come up.
Oh, he was supply blocked. He couldn't. There's the first muta.
Maybe 1 or 2 Muta.
More Wraiths though. So Nag got to suspect something now with the Wraith timing. 3 Wraiths. Yeah, he's got to know at this stage that it's 2 starboards.
Yeah, and this is where the damage will start to reap up.
Drones. If you can get all the overlords, I think it's really going to be quite crippling.
Yes.
Do we have a spread of the overlords? It looks like one of them is kind of over on the left, and the other one's there. They're coming towards the base, which would maybe make Nag's life a little easier in some ways.
Yeah, he definitely pulled them back. He needs every overlord here now to deal with these cloaked wraiths.
That's why he had to bring the Ovies back, because he researched cloak. Okay, that makes sense.
Generally, you get cloak with this, and this is what makes it all the more deadly, because Nag can't even put aggression on until you get overlord speed. And every overlord you lose is absolutely precious.
And there's a lot of them here. He's just cleaned up that overlord in seconds. Getting a few more drones for his trouble. Another overlord here potentially, but obviously the energy to recharge the cloak is the reason why these wraiths aren't cloaked currently. But this is a good aggro build. How do you transition from here? At a certain point, you would need to take a natural. I mean, I suppose it's just game sense and how you're feeling in game.
Don't need to take a natural just yet. You can go like all the way up to vessels and get some bio and then take a nat. Maybe putting on some aggression that way. But you can stay on 1 base against a 2 base Zerg for quite a while. But it is interesting to see how Neblime is going to transition out of it. Is he going to do like a 1-1-1 like start push and get vessels and tanks? Is he just going to just simply go for maybe Volks or something and expand? It's definitely interesting.
The transition is a tricky one here, and this is good play from Nag. He's picking a straggling Wraith, and then when they group together and they cloak, then obviously he needs to run away. This is a catch-22 because I think he's got overlord speed though. And that was a very, very quick reaction and the right move, because now his overlords are going to be really, really critical to spot the Wraiths when they're cloaked and grouped together. Yeah,
he's got the overlord speed as of I think 30 seconds ago, and now Nag can come in here and put on some aggression, and it's really going to be up to Neblime to see how he's going to respond to this. I think Neblime's trying to go for a counter, but he's in the middle of the map, doesn't quite know what to do, but it looks like his Wraiths are going in for the counter, and he's just going to try and pick up
there's just a drone massacre, but it's only 6 Wraiths. I mean, I don't know the 1-to-1, but I reckon 4 or 5 mutas can more than hold their own against 6 Wraiths. And he's got more if he groups them.
I'd say it's more like 2 or 3 muta. I'd say
3 to 1. Okay.
Yeah, I'd say 3 to 1. I don't know the exact maths, but definitely having the Overlords there and everything, and able to fly back very quickly will definitely deter him from continuing the assault.
Oh, this is good damage. The Wraiths are now coming there to hold the fort. So this, I think initially maybe, ooh, that was a nice, I think he picked off 2 Overlords there. I think Neblime, I think Nagnar has held the early pressure, and this game is fairly even. Would you agree with that?
I wouldn't say that, actually. I think the Nag has been putting on this attack, but the damage hasn't been enough of a counter damage. He's lost a significant number of drones, and he needs to get quite a lot of damage done here, but this vessel's out now. There goes the irradiate. How good's the split? Oh, a bit wonky. Losing 1
Oh, he loses
meter.
2. Maybe even more. Oh,
Yeah,
he gets out of there,
meter.
but they are very, very bruised meters.
Yeah, it's not enough damage, and we don't, like, we're barely on any drones. Here comes the counter-attack again with these Wraiths, killing them off. It looks like the start of a comeback, honestly. It's looking very, very in the blind favor, and here we are. We've got the Marines out now with +1 damage, already done. And they can pretty much not respect these meters because the vessel's out, although it doesn't quite have energy yet, so Nag realizes he might be able to jump on these Marines.
Oh, Nag through, well, not through, but he lost 2 there in this flock of 10, 11 meters, and that hurt a bit. I think Neblime can keep moving forward. The Wraiths are here now to support him as well. This is it's not the composition you see every day in this match, but it's surely making for an exciting spectacle.
Yeah. It looks like Nag's just going to plunk down all these Sunkens to try and hold the attack. Buying time for these Sunkens to get up, but he really can't do much. It looks like Neb might just be able to straight up bust this location.
Yeah, and like you say, with the number of drones lost, Nag is struggling to find money for units and Sunkens and drones. It's the Zerg nightmare, I guess you could
But here
call
comes
it.
the Sunkens are up.
The Sunkens have come up in time, so he has to pull away, but he's got a commanding lead here. I think if he just patiently holds this position and reinforces, he could probably trap Nag on 2 bases for quite some time.
Yeah, he could definitely keep applying pressure here. There's really nothing that Nag can do to ease this pressure off. He can't counterattack or anything. He's got no tech other than meters, so it really feels like a doomed situation here.
Absolutely. Now, I think this was the start of the fight back we were all wanting to see.
Yeah, definitely an interesting way, and exciting that he's able to finally take a game off Nag. But let's see if he's able to do it. Nag still has a pretty strong meter micro. If he's able to get more meter here, which I don't see him being able to produce more meter, he might be able to hold this attack again and go for a very strong counterattack.
He loses vessel there, but he's lost all his meters.
Every meter.
I think this is just a matter of time. Neblime's going to move in, yes. Flooding the factory for sighting purposes, I'd imagine. Loses a vessel there to some Scourge, but I think Nagnar's just got no drones. I think you called it very nice and early, Zesk, that this drone count has just been his Achilles heel.
Still holds on though. Did way better than I thought. He's holding on with the 1 sunk though. That's just the really.
Yeah, I just think he's just got to rally enough units and knock this out the park.
It was close though. Very, very close hold.
Yeah, very much. This is tight. But I mean, you have a natural with no drone mining minerals as Nagnar. I mean, it's a crazy situation.
Absolutely, yeah. We got a little bit in the main here. We're just pumping everything on defense, and there's just really nothing behind us. While Neb takes a second base. There we go. GG's called.
GG. So Neblime is on the board, guys. Let's not write him off. 3-1. Let's go.
Yeah. This is definitely heating up. Pulling out the 2-port Wraith and taking it. Alright. In the top
orange
left.
Nagnar.
In the top left, we have, always in classic, orange Zerg Nagnar in the lead. And in the other side of the map, we have Neblime in olive Terran.
The puke color, my favorite.
The puke color. Oh wow, that is one way to make it truly
When you need to pull out a game, you play and puke. Your opponent is so disgusted by how you look, he just automatically GGs.
It is true. I'm fairly sure there's a colour very close to this one that they use on cigarette packets in Australia to like deter people from buying them.
Yeah. No, this is the anti-Starcraft color. This is Starcraft gives your hands warts. Please caution your children. Don't play. But luckily we have orange though to brighten up people's days.
I do quite like it on Zerg, Olive. I do have to say that. I think it looks bad on Terran, but I like it on Zerg. It looks nice.
Okay, let's stay on Nagnar's base. The only game he didn't go 12 hatch, he lost. I really, really need to know, and I don't want to cast the curse myself. Is he going to change?
Yeah, I think that's an Overlord, and he hasn't put a pool down, so I think we are going to do 12 hatch again.
Yeah, the drones are on their way, so yes. Okay, so he's gone back to what's worked for him. And Neblime, by the looks of it, still too early to predict.
Yeah, it just looks like a pretty standard game.
Although, hang on a minute. This looks like command center first. That is a big change in strategy from Neblime.
Ooh. Pulling out all the stops. We're going to be a 14cc user. Good catch, Rabbit.
Oh, the spice. The spice.
Yeah.
So, I think Neblime spent some time coaching me during CPL, and he said if you win with the cheese, the next game you always go Nexus first or Command Center first, whatever the case might be. I think that logic is sound here. Nag would maybe have expected something aggressive again, so then you do literally the antithesis of that and you go Command Center first. So I really like this from Neblime. It's going to give him a huge advantage if he can get it up and going.
Unfortunately, Nag put down his pull before putting down his seeing this. It's a little bit unfortunate, and he wasn't able to stop this with the drone pull.
Oh, he got a first scout. That's very unlucky. That's very unlucky.
I think, in actual fact, if he had put down that pull, he would be able to punish this, because Neblime won't have Marines for ages, and then with the overpull, he would be able to just very quickly punish this. But it looks like Neblime is going to get away with a 14cc pretty scot-free. So it'll be interesting to see how Nag responds to this.
So does this just give Terran a mechanism to pump out a lot of units really, really quickly? So as opposed to being the defensive player against the Mutalisk harassment, you can maybe get a critical mass of bio to the natural of the Zerg before the mutas are even out, or when there's just not enough mutas to move across the map yet?
I think it depends on the build, obviously, that they choose, whether or not they get a massive lead in one way or the other. But yes, you get infinite about more money. It's just insanity how much greed 14cc is able to pull off. It truly is like one of the greediest builds you can do in the game.
Okay, so Nagnar sticking with his 2.5 hatch, that tends to be his style in ZVT. My logic or my intuition would tell me that if you see a command center first, that perhaps gives you the comfort to take an earlier third, so maybe a third base as opposed to a natural hatch?
I think it entirely depends on whether or not we see like some sort of stim rush or something. And we do see quite an academy get plays, but just like regular timed.
Okay, so you think he's expecting aggression, so rather just stick with the 2.5 hat strategy? Yeah.
If Neblime... Because Neblime has an econ lead already, going for a third base is actually extremely risky, because Neblime will be able to pump out more than enough units at the correct time to respond to that. I think the really only chance for Nag here is to just take an L for like the first 8-9 minutes of the game and try and win late game. Which he has shown us is very much possible.
Sorry, just had to put my lung back in. Alright, no, we're good. Good to go again.
When you phrase it like that, you sound like, you're dying or something. Put your lung back
or I'm a mechanical bot, not
cyborg,
not actually human.
That's kind of freaky.
Yeah.
It's just the cold, that you got?
That's it. I think so. I mean, nobody's confirmed or denied it.
It's nasty having us on the cold. It really is.
Yeah, and it's just. I mean, we live in Melbourne though, so do we have summer? And I'm still trying to figure this one out.
I'd say it's summer. It still gets pretty hot. It gets way hotter than other parts of the world.
Don't you love how these marines are the same color as the soil? I'm just sticking with my puke analogy here. This is just glum, man. Just really glum.
Don't like
He's moved them now to a
all.
lighter part. You heard me. He's like, okay, well, I'll put them here then.
Yeah, he's trying to hide them.
Yeah. All right. So meter harassment incoming. Always an important part of the game. How much damage is done, and the transitions after this phase.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what Nag's going to do.
I'll be honest, Eski, having watched this series, if it's a macro game, I think Nagnar's the stronger player. If it's a frisky build, then it's Sublime. That being said, this is the first command center first game, so maybe that'll be the difference maker.
Maybe there'll be just enough for Neblime to get a better footing into that late game macro, because he's always gone into the late game with on the back foot and then just never being able to recover. It's been quite...
Yeah, and just breaking that fourth base of the Zerg has kind of been his biggest challenge that he hasn't been able to overcome thus far.
Yep. So it looks like we went
5 racks.
5 racks plus 1 eBay.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty standard stuff. We have so much money right now. I don't think I've seen. I think this is like a very juicy amount of SCVs, very early on.
Christmas in Terran land.
Pretty much.
Let's go spend some money. Go buy some weapons on Amazon and go blow up some shrimp.
Exactly. Although I don't know what any of that means. So I'm just gonna smile away and say that I'm too young to understand. We do get a little bit of damage done. But he's moving out here, Rabbit.
Kind of posturing a little bit though. Doesn't seem too sure. Maybe you just kind of knowing that there's 11 mutas here. Better to try and keep his units together. The nightmare that is playing Terran against this clumped muta flock.
Yeah, I think when his +1 kicks in, he should be able to just walk across the map and be very threatening. We'll see how strong is Nag's muta micro dealing with this. Getting a couple of medics, definitely a big blow, but remember, we've got a massive budget.
Yeah, I think that could be a big difference. Only 2 Sunkens here. I think he's headed for the Nat.
Yeah, he scanned it. It's definitely where he wants to go. He just wants to end this game right here, right now. But again, Nag's doing quite good job peeling off the reinforcements.
Yeah, the reinforcements not grouping with the main army is definitely slowing the Neblime down here a lot.
Yeah.
And there seems to be a few Lings as well that are kind of... I'm dreading the flank from Game 2 happening again, where it was mutas from the one side and Lings from the other and a dead bio ball.
Yeah, it looks like
I'm just worried that this happens again, because this seems to be the plan.
It looks like that's exactly what's going to happen here, although he just lost a massive...
Although he's killing the mutas, which is giving him a chance. Although this is a lot, all from one angle though. He pulls away. I think that's the right call. This went much better for Neblime than the previous game.
Yeah, we're now down to 7 muta. It's looking very nice for Neblime. Everything's just going up.
I think you could storm the Nat here. How many? We're still just on the 2 Sunkens. This is a key moment in this game.
Yeah, he should be able to break this, maybe? Maybe if he keeps these Marines.
Oh, picking off the reinforcements again, not grouping together, a little bit frustrating.
I think Neblime is questioning whether he can break this, but I think this should be doable. He's got, maybe not with the 0 energy medics. I think if he had managed to keep those medics earlier, he'd definitely be able to break this. Like 5 medics would absolutely tear this in half.
I think he's scanned twice. He's scanned the natural, and he's also now scanned the bottom left. Because, no, I thought he was moving there, but he's not. Those units are still in the center. This fight has gone really well for Nagnar. He's picked off most of the bio that was here, just coming straight out of the natural.
Absolutely. Cleaned up every single Marine and the medics as well. Leave no one alive. And that's definitely what Nag needs. He needs more trades like that if he wants to get back into the game. It's still going, Rabbit. He's just absolutely cleaning up. This muted control is very solid indeed.
And he's got a totally unharassed corner base that is miles for Neblime to get to, with muters with absolute map control that these muters are giving him.
Yeah, and this is definitely he needs more trades like this, but doing just that is not really enough. He needs way more trades like that, and very favorable trades too. Like Neblime, we should be checking. He should have a lot of tech going on. Just want to check if that was going to happen or not, and it is.
Here come the muters again, although this time not enough.
Backs off a little bit there, going for maybe...
Vessels are out now. I think that'll be a difference maker. The muters are going to become far less impactful now, once we get the energy.
Yeah, we're just going a little bit ham with these muters, seeing that vessel. And backing off here. Alright. Got a Hydrogen out. We don't quite have lurkers yet. We need these lurkers, like, right now, if we're going to hold against these vessels.
Hive is on the way, so Dark Swarm won't be too far away if he can hold this off initially. But this is going to be the key push, and I think the Blime's sense of timing here is pretty good. He knows exactly when Nagnar's timings are. He's not going to have Dark Swarm yet, so if he's going to make it happen, he's going to have to do it soon.
Yeah, I think we'll check the medic energy real quick. Yeah, these medics are juiced up this time, so this is going to be a very different outlook. Whether he's going to save it for a D-Matrix or a Radiated Orb.
And he's going for 3 Sunkers, but the Lurkers I think are going to be the difference makers here. Although he's irradiated 1, there's only one other one. He pulls back. I think he summed it up. Probably couldn't quite do it.
Ah, these are stacked. So he's actually got 2. But yeah, it looks like Nag might just hold on. Quite interesting. It really is painful playing from these positions after a CC first like that, but the longer Nag holds, the less impact that CC first will have.
Absolutely. I think the longer this game goes on, the more it swings in Nagnar's favor. He just, generally speaking, seems to be a slightly stronger macro player. But Neblime is if he can break through this now, though, that'll definitely swing this game in his favor.
Getting some very injured vessels in the air, Rabbit. But yes, I agree with you there. Nag has been shown time and time again this time that he is definitely had that step up in game in terms of late game macro.
And his muter play in this game has just been outstanding.
Yes.
I mean, the muters have really kept him in this game.
It's definitely kept him in this game.
That was a beautiful irradiate, though. He lost probably about 4 or 5 there. Defiler Mound is out, though, so Dark Swarm is imminent. Neblime is on the clock here, Zesk.
Yeah, if he wants to push, he will need to go now, but I'm not really sure if it's a good idea. Oh, those lurkers are absolutely shredding that bio line. It looks, yeah.
These Lings are going to slow these Marines down. It's 2 Sunkens, 1 Sunken. I think he's going to break it. It's really close, but these lurkers are hard to see because of the damn overlords. And he's going to hold.
That was a nice little push at the +2 timing.
And here is the Dark Swarm. I said it was imminent, and here it is. And this really does make breaking bases hard, to say the least.
Very much so. In fact, that will enable Nag to take that 4th base. And here we are now, already taking it. Yeah. This is, oh, as if they didn't kill that drone. That's a bit weak.
So, 8 hit points is enough.
Literally 1 hit away.
And a 1-hit drone can become a full hatchery, such as the weirdness of the alien Zergs.
Neblime, I think Neblime's a little bit tilted here. He really wanted to break this base, but, you know, we've got plenty of irradiates.
Okay, Zest, so I'm putting you on the spot here. If you were to slide into Neblime's chair now, how do you play this game out? Do you take a 3rd and slow down, or do you try and pressure bottom left, or what would you do from here? Do you just keep hammering this natural?
I would actually double expand while just constantly irradiating, and Just like, you know, get everything
drones!
out. Oh,
drones!
how many kills is
so many drones!
5 kills. And a push
Oh,
at
he
the same
burrows.
time.
Oh, he's going for it. He's going for it. I don't see any lurkers here.
Only one.
I think there's 2 come down from the hatch now. This is so close.
Do we have
the vessels don't have any energy for an irradiator, but the lurker didn't burrow in time. I think he might break through, but the Nidus is reinforcing from the bottom, so it's hard to know how many units will come through. Another Sunken comes online. This is so close.
GG is called.
GG, Neblime pulls it off. This is a series, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, 3-2. I told you this one was the game. Now this is getting very spicy.
Just couldn't quite hold that last moment. Very close game up until it was very not, I wouldn't say close, but very neck to neck. Like Nag was on the back foot that entire game.
So that command center first made a huge difference.
Quite a significant difference, yeah.
And a lovely pivot from Neblime. I think credit for having the guts to go from a rush build to a command center first back to back. And this is now turning into a very spicy series.
I will indeed. But first, we'll just introduce the players. In the top right spawn, we have, and he's having a bit of a comeback. Can he do it again? Neblime. And in the bottom right spawn, Orange Zerg, as always. He only needs one more game to finish. Nagnar.
What did you notice about Neblime's color?
Yeah, it's magenta again, isn't it?
It's your favorite.
Yeah.
It's your favorite. The magic magenta is back, which means he has to do something more aggressive. I think puke is for macro builds and magenta is for rush builds. So that's what I've learned from today's cast.
I'm loving this color theory, by the way. Absolutely amazing stuff. Really setting the tone.
We have an SCV going somewhere, Zeski. Sorry, where is he going? Is this middle Rex shenanigans? It's the power of magenta. I'm telling you, something is up.
Yeah, definitely dodgy. Whether it's going to be one
middle Rex, middle Rex. There it is. The power of magenta never fails. There's some cheesy shenanigans happening in what is a critical game in the series.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. But oh. 2 racks, there we go.
Here comes number 2.
BBS.
Alright, what is has Nagnar opened? Was he looking like he's gonna open 12 hatch?
Yes it is, it's 12 hatch.
It's 12 hatch. I don't know the meta, but what the best open is versus this as Zerg.
Yeah. Any pull first is strong against BBS. Definitely don't want to go 12 hatch, so Neblime catching Nagnar. Nagnar's being honest, trying to earn his last win, but Neblime's like, nah, you're gonna have to play against my filth, and that's exactly what's
Okay, can we follow his drone? Because this is critical moment. If he happens to go through the middle, or if he happens to scout him first, I think he's gonna scout him first, because it looks like he's doing a straight scout.
And he's going to immediately see that there is some missing infrastructure going on, you know?
Yes.
You don't have anything that's something dodgy, and I think he'll know. He'll check the gas and know that it's not 8 racks. Not 8 racks, sorry, 8 rack gas.
Wait, his drone just moved back. Oh no, he's gone again to double check. Okay, so he now has all the intel. Now would be a very good time to adjust. I don't know how one's supposed to adjust, but at least you know what you need to know. So I expect his drones are going to move into the natural to try and block the bunker coming up. Okay, so that's what's happening here.
Yeah, it's going to block the bunker going up, but I think he might need to pull a few more drones when he sees the marine count and knows it's BBS and not just a generic 8 racks. He's going to need a lot more, and yeah, he's pulling back the drones. It looks... No, going back in with the drones. Losing one.
I think he's buying time. He's buying time to get creep, but that's not going to matter much. Does he get... Is a sunk in the way here? I honestly... Oh, he's cancelled the bunker. He's building it in another place.
A little bit close up. He needs to get us around. Drones bugging out. Needs to get on top of these marines, but we're just losing so many drones.
It's just too many marines here. This is going to be a very, very quick GG. Unless Nag can pull... Okay, so some Lings have arrived, but there's 2 marines coming down relentlessly. Oh no, he's actually managed to hold on here. Do these get into the bunker? They do, but this bunker's going to go down. The SCV has got no hope in hell of repairing it, and I think Nag is held.
Yeah, looks like it's it. He's got his lings out, and now he's able to hold every single marine that comes out across this map. But Nag still needs to pull it out from here. The marine count back at home, or in the center of the map rather, can still build to an alarming rate. So these next few moments will be critical and will decide the game.
But he is not interested. He doesn't look like he's interested in the barracks. He looks like he's going to go after SCVs.
Yeah.
And put Neb in a pretty tricky position here. Do you move back to try and protect your SCVs, or do you move forward to try and kill the hatch? And I think it's a very, very difficult catch-22, considering the distances. Here they come, the SCVs now to fight these lings.
I think the play here is to just lift up your CC and pull everything to go absolutely all in. Nag's going to see that the CC's lifted. This is going to be absolutely all in. And now everything's on the line. Nag's base, he doesn't have any Sunkens on the line.
Okay, let's give us a count. How many Marines here?
We got 8
6,
Marines.
7. Alright. And all the SCVs. This is as all in can be. Is going. The Sunken's not going to come up. Oh no, I think this is definitely a dead hatch. I think Nag does have options there. Oh, they've waltzed straight into the main. I was going to say he could build a Sunken in the main, which he's going to try and do, but I don't know if it's going to come up in time. I think Neblime has done this. What a crazy, crazy game this has been. If he gets the pull first, I guess that's also going to block him from building any more Lings or Sunkens, but I don't think it's actually going to matter. I think Neblime has done this.
Yeah, I think so as well. Nag didn't actually quite have the minerals to start a Sunk, and then Neblime can absolutely come here and destroy the Sunk.
And that is it. He's evened it out. Are we 3-all? Is this real life? We actually called this. This is insane.
Wow. Okay. This is definitely something. I mean, I did not expect to reach this point, but here we are. 3-3. And we're getting into our game now.
If there's ever a map to have a final on, it is Eclipse. Hey? I mean,
Yeah.
the shenanigan map of StarCraft.
Absolutely. Alright, for the final time in OSL Season 1, we have Neblime in the top right. And in the bottom left, Nagnar.
I have nothing to say because he spawned as purple. I have no cool joke for purple, so I'm just going to sit here and be sad for a little while.
Greetings from Spain. Hello from Spain. Yes, this is the last game because it is all tied up. It's 3-3 and it's the final, so absolutely this is the last game. Decide a match. Match point.
And if you've missed the other games, watching the VOD is definitely worth it because the series has had some serious flows where it all looked kind of one-sided, and then Neblime has made a huge comeback. So he's come back from 3-0 down to level the series at 3-all. And that's kind of what makes the deciding game, I think, even more exciting.
Yes.
So Zeski, no pressure. I'm just going to put you on the spot. Predict the winner for me.
I don't know. I can't answer that, Rabbit. Like, it's just... That's
I
not
already
possible.
know you don't know. That's why I asked you for a prediction, mate. That's what predictions are. Don't all you Aussies punt?
We
isn't
do,
that a thing?
but we like to take calculated odds, right?
Oh, I see. With
Right.
calculus.
Yes, with calculus. Just like sending the Overlord on ZVZ, which main you send it to, that's all calculus, you know. But
we can stop goofing now because there is... Sorry, I'm waiting for your prediction, but maybe this will give you some more information. Nagnar has gone overpool in this game. Very interesting.
Yes. I think that's a smart choice after last game with the BBS and the 14cc. It's like, I do not want Neblime to pull out anything dodgy. So this is, I think, a perfectly acceptable, but of course Neblime's not doing anything dodgy because he's just going very standard racks in main.
I think the games where he's gone early gas and mixed in some sort of factory comp has worked pretty well for him. I guess in a series where some things have worked and some things aren't, how do you decide what to do in the make or break game?
It's very, very hard. You've got... Honestly, whenever I reach these stages, I don't really know what to think. I usually have a plan beforehand on...
Yeah, which makes sense because then you don't get yourself too nervous before the game itself. Dada asks, wonder if we're going to see that Hydra Lurker Ling play. Mate, I really hope so because I really do enjoy watching that. Here come the Lings. Going to put a little bit of pressure on here. I don't know if Neblime's expecting this. He does look ready though. He's got the SCVs on the ramp, so he has scouted this.
Yes, he definitely saw the late hatch and decided, yeah, this is exactly what I'm gonna do. Getting the CC up. So his stuff will be like a little bit like 10 seconds late. That's fine.
I've definitely seen a change in Nagnar's play. A little bit more aggressive, maybe losing that patience and composure a little bit from what we saw in the first few games.
Definitely tilting a little bit. But here we are. We're going to 3 hatch.
Yeah, a 2.5 hatch has become our trademark from the Nagnar.
This is actually 3 hatch. If it was 2.5 hatch, he would already have the lair.
There's no lair. Ah.
Yeah.
I beg your pardon. Are we going to see Hydra Man?
I don't know what we're going to see, honestly. It could be 3 hatch Muta, it could be something else, but it looks like Neblime is not doing any of that at all. Instead, he's going to pull the boys. This is definitely going to be interesting, and getting this Overlord is definitely very, very painful. And Nag needs to absolutely get everything down here. He needs the Sunks to hold this.
I don't know what's triggered Neblime to do this, but he's obviously saw a gap or something that. And no, he's pulled them back again. He's changed his mind.
He's changed his mind. Wow, this is definitely a mind game and a half right here. Pulling these back, not deciding to commit is very, very.
You think that's a bait? Did he do that to bait Sunks? That
was definitely to bait out Sunks. The only reason you would do that is to try and get Nag to put down a lot of Sunks very quickly as panic, and then quickly turn them into Sunks. Hopefully he doesn't see the bio going back into the base. Very nicely done, forcing 2 Sunks out. But again...
Can we get a shot of his main, Nag's main? I want to see if the lair's going, please.
There we go.
Yeah, okay. So he's getting his lair going, so all the options are back on the table, so we'll have to see what Nagnar wants to do. I'm feeling a push from Neblime. I don't think he's going to have done this without a plan. It's 2 racks. He's expanded. I think he may pressure the natural if he thinks that he can break the sun count. He just feels. I think he feels that aggression has worked to get him back in the series. So why stop playing with that style now in the decider?
Exactly. Yes. I think that's a very smart choice from Neb, and I think he knows definitely that Nagnar. Neb's been quite a veteran player of Brutal for a long time, and for sure he's going to pull out some things that Nagnar might not have seen in everyday standard play. Like, Nag's a very smart player, he's a very technical player, but at the end of the game, like, having more games under your belt, you're going to see more shifty stuff that you can pull out, especially in crazy finals like this, where everything's on the line. Everything on the line for, I think it's $20. So, you know.
Wow! $20.
Yeah, massive payouts.
This is the big leagues, boys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't mess around here.
Though if you'd like to contribute to the OSL prize pool, I think there is like a donation opening up soon. I'm not 100% sure on that, but definitely more information will be on our Discord.
And the casters get 1 free draught, and that's it.
I am never gonna live this down, am I?
I'll let it go at the end of the cast, but I've got to live it just for this one final.
I don't believe you.
I
don't believe you. You're gonna play that card forever. But it's.
What do you think my new Smurf name's gonna be in Battle.net? Zeski's Draught. That's what I'm gonna name myself in our next ladder. So look out for Zeski's Draught. D-rank Protoss in the house. All right, so that was a little bit of a nice hold. Arguably a little bit of a throw. I don't think he really got any damage for those links. 4 Sunks here though. That's nice and snug. And honestly, Zeski, I think Nagnar's Muta play is going to have to be what starts to get him back into this game.
Yeah, I definitely think so. He's going to have to rely heavily on that Muta play to thin out this count. But again, Neblime had a bit of an awkward start because he had to deal with the overpull and he had to pull 4 SEVs instead of 2. So he lost a little bit of minerals there. Then he did like the SCV pull, and although forced 2 Sunks, still costed him minerals doing that. So his marine count is going to be generally lower. So Nagnar should be able to, as he's demonstrated before, to get his Mutalisk and just really prey on those marines and hopefully keep him down long enough to do the damage there.
I think both players' styles and choices will change in this game. Neblime played those last 3 games with nothing to lose. That makes you fearless, that makes you more dangerous. Obviously now the psychology is a little bit different, and therefore I'm hoping this isn't the case, but I'm expecting him to be a little bit more careful in his choices. Although that being said, he is moving into the middle of the map. This has been where he's been a little bit vulnerable to flank attacks, mutiling flank attacks, and that's what I would just obviously have in the back of my mind if I were him with these move outs.
Yeah, it's definitely putting pressure on, but I'm not sure if this move out's really a good idea. Like, Nag's got like 4 sunks.
Not with 4 and 2 more to come. No, this is a fortress right there, and okay, so a couple of stray Marines.
So really, this is correct from Nag. He doesn't really care about this bio group. He's just like, alright, sure, you're gonna run into my sunkens, and you can just lose all your bio.
Swami asks, has Neblime built his factory?
No, he didn't. Oh, there we are. Pretty late though. It's finishing at like 9 minutes, so he must have started at like 8. Takes about, I think, 45 seconds to finish a factory, maybe 50. Can't remember. Just like closer to 8 than anything else. Though he did catch the
Neblime's certainly transitioning into some base denial play here. Very active on the map, checking for a third. Because if he can keep an Nagnar on 2 bases for as long as possible, it's definitely going to work in his favor.
Ooh, setting up a turret there to block that base for as long as possible, but we are getting the Hydra's up now, so he's going to secure that 3rd base pretty easily. I think the turret did nearly as much damage as he'd hoped to its economy.
Yeah, I think that's information, right? You spend 75 minerals for information. Simple as that. Just knowing exactly when that's going down. Yeah.
And also to deny the base for a little bit, undoubtedly. It looks like we're pulling the Marines now. Finally got +1.
So conga lining bio coming down.
We got 2 factories.
Oh, so is this a bio open into mech switch?
Potentially. We'll have to see him wait for more factories. Generally, you do the mech switch a little bit later, but this could potentially be like double siege tank with like
so just a tank bio combo. Okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Which will actually be really helpful if Nag decides to go into Hydrolurk. But...
So we see the machine shop spinning. I can only speculate that must be siege mode because there's no reason for him to be researching anything else.
It could be mines, but
there's no vultures, so I reckon we saw the tanks. It's definitely a siege push with Marines leading.
But I don't think I'll do that much. Looks like we've got our den mount finished, and we're just going to get consumed, and we're going to hold this pretty easily.
Nagnar's hive tech tree was a lot faster this game. Delayed the 3rd base, but the trade-off there was his tech. I mean, his hive is up, his defiler mount is up. He's going to have Dark Swarm available for this push.
Yes, he should be able to quite easily hold with Consume and Dark Swarm. He might be able to maybe damage, like, and he's got the extra sunks. Like, he should be able to just hold this push. And then, yeah, Neblime's stuck with 2 factories. Kinda.
Yeah, I think this natural is where Marines go to die. I don't feel good about his chances of breaking it. Even with the siege tank.
Yep. Though he needs to target this nice clump of lurkers. Adding an extra sunk just in case. Do you like that choice? I think playing safe in the final game is definitely a decision, but yeah, like...
Alright, here comes our Dark Swarm, and then from there I think the mutas will move on the bio.
Oh no! But
the lurkers too. But it's a little late.
I thought that Defiler was going to go down that way. Luckily, I was wrong, and it managed to get the Dark Swarm off anyway. I was a little bit nervous there for a second for Nagnar. I thought the game had just been over, because he was about to lose like every single lurker.
If he can trap Nagnar, he can really pressure this 3rd. There's only 2 sunkens here. I know there's a Nidus, which I suppose helps, but with the right sighting, these siege tanks are going to be able to hit these sunkens, and they're going to be out of range.
He'll hit the stacked lurkers first, and that'll do quite a lot
sorry,
of
the
damage.
Overlord was obstructing me. Yeah, spot on. That'll be the first primary target. There's 4 there.
All stacked, yep. So that siege splash will be absolutely detrimental, but obviously if you can get the swarm up, it doesn't really matter. It looks like Neblime is double expanding behind this. So he's really
I really like this. He's got really nice map control. It's very, very difficult for Nagnar to move around the map at this stage. He's in a very defensive posture. If he can get these bases up, I think he's going to be in a very, very strong position to just reinforce relentlessly.
Yeah, but he obviously has to get those bases up, and if Nagnar can get pressure across the map, he should be able to deny those bases. But then again, maybe Neblime's strategy here is not to actually kill Nagnar, but to simply
just contain him.
Just to contain him with tanks, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's got a nice little wall going on here. He's got a lot of buildable terrain to play with. And he can constantly put on pressure with these tanks.
And like you say, he's not moving too far. He's just sort of parked just outside the front door.
Yeah.
And the tank count is growing, and I think the more the tank count grows, the trickier this becomes for Nagnar to break out.
Yeah, but if Nagnar could do one big collective push and break this, that's when things will start to go sideways a little bit for Neblime.
So it looks like he's trying to break out here with the Lurkers, the Hydras, the Lings, the Dark Swarm. He does back up nicely. I don't know how deep the line sort of goes behind this, but there is quite a few units down here. But I think, Zesk, what you're saying is, if Nagnar breaks this, then Neblime is in a spot of bother, because then he has some potentially naked expansions that could be pressured.
Very naked expansion, emphasis on that. He doesn't quite have the bunkers up yet, or the units to really reinforce it. But that being said, his supply count's looking very healthy.
It is. It looks like he's making more money than he can spend at this stage, and that's not a mock on his macro. It's quite the opposite. He's got a lot of production power behind him. But Nagnar just nicely picking away here, keeping things under control. These stacked Lurkers are earning their money, although what's our vessel count? It does seem a little bit low for the star. Maybe there's just not enough gas to run the tanks and the vessels. Oh, we've got about 3. So that's all right. I think hitting these stacked Lurkers with some irradiate, that could be pretty handy if you can get that done.
Yeah, you just do not have the gas yet to really pump on 1 port, 2 factories, so you really have to make some sacrifices there. I'm surprised, he probably hasn't even started +3 yet. He's probably quite behind on a lot of gas infrastructure. But Nag's doing a very nice job. Really
mentioned gas, though. Nag's really struggling as a Zerg player, only on 2 gases, and I think this is giving Neblime a big edge in this game.
Yeah, the 3 gas is definitely painful, and being Eclipse, being slightly Terran favored, it's really hard to take a 4th base with Zerg on this map. Really hard.
Alright, so some unsupported tanks here are just muta food at this stage. That's a little bit unfortunate that the bio is, I wouldn't say out of position, but just a bit stretched. I think Neblime's a little bit stretched here in terms of trying to break this 3rd and contain the natural. It's maybe just spreading himself a little bit too thin.
Yes, but he is just holding on. As long as he's just holding on, that means Nag is not getting out.
And Nag's not droning, he's just trading, and the longer Neblime can hold this position, the better it's going to be for him in this game, because those bases behind this will be saturated, will be coming up, will be growing. His econ is getting stronger, and Nag's is staying in the same place, or even you could say falling a little bit behind.
I think it's definitely falling behind here, but it looks like Nagnar is busting out the Hydras. He's got +1 Caracas, picking off those Marines. But
I think the siege tanks are going to be the difference makers, though. This is a lot of Marines, and not a critical mass. I think the power of Hydras is always in numbers, and he just doesn't have the gas and the hatch count to produce any critical mass at this stage.
I think he's definitely got the hatches. He's definitely got enough hatches to pump out units, but I think the gas is really what's limiting him here. 3 gas, you really want 4 gas against this, and Neblime's expanding again. There's really nothing else. Let's see, he's going up to 3 factory now, still on 1 port. He's got these bases absolutely defended, and it looks like Neblime jumping up in here. Can he break this base? This will end the game.
This is very possible if he gets through these 2 Sunkens, although it's looking a little bit close. These Lings will be a nuisance, but I think unless the Lurkers pop through this Nidus, this could go down, Zess. This is a big moment.
Alright, hopefully he'll just stim it. He D-Matrix the Marine. He's targeting down the Nidus Canal, but there's a second Nidus Canal. He's not quite out of this yet. Dark Swarms goes down.
The Swarm's there, but who's here to fight for Zerg? The drones in the Swarm? This is desperate times to say the least.
Some Lings pop out. Absolutely clutch hold from Nagnar. I am very, very surprised he's managed to pull that out of the hat. But really, what's going to stop him? He can't clean this up there. He's able to hold it, but he can't push these Marines down this ramp. And if these Marines...
There's so many drones here. If this base goes down, it's GG. There's just no coming back from this.
But it looks like he just manages to hold that base.
And Nag is very... Neblime is very clever. He's positioned other units just to block reinforcements as opposed to reinforcing himself, and I think that's probably the right play. Difficult to know what's going on under the Dark Swarm. We can hear, but we can't see.
Oh, and now we're picking off drones.
Oh, and these siege tanks have just reduced these Sunkens to nothing. There were 7 here at one stage. They're all gone. So now he can move his units down with relative freedom, and the bio could just reinforce and wreak havoc. I think Neblime's got this.
I think he does as well. It's very hard to see him not come out ahead. He's now on 5 bases. His main's not even mined out yet. And Nag is just struggling on his 3, even with... He doesn't quite have the comp to really pull this out. He is going Hydras, but there's just no lurkers as well, which means
it's just not enough.
It's just not enough.
If there's only one small criticism we could have of Neblime in this game, he's maybe 1 or 2 production facilities light, but otherwise he's really, really playing a powerful game here. Could maybe have 2 more racks. He's got the money for it. He's got the basis for it.
But no criticisms from me. He has absolutely done well in this series. It was
well, to create the spectacle that's been created, it's just been absolutely wonderful. A great advert for the ASL, a great way to end off the first season.
Wait, hold on. Is there nothing else behind this? Does Neblime not have anything else? No, he does have a lot of units coming up to reinforce. But
it is 130 to 44. I don't see a way back for our Zerg, unfortunately. He's trying to take a 4th base here. It looks like, but I just don't think it's going to come up.
It's looking really grim, and yeah, we just don't have any gas units left. Now we're running out of minerals. Our main is mined out. It's really, really substantial.
And tanks are going to move in this position. There's nothing here, Zeski. There's 1 Hydralisk. A couple of Lings have got in here to harass, but that's not really going to be
this is a pretty good surround,
on top of these tanks, though, that's very good. It's going to be picked off, but I just think the units from Terran can be bottomless, whereas Zerg doesn't have that luxury.
Ironically, yeah. Usually it's the other way around, but...
Absolutely. The swarm. It's the swarm of Terran here, guys.
The swarm of Terran, it's the swarm of Zerg, but... Honestly, Nag is holding back quite well. He's managed to break out of the contain. He's getting units into this position. Though I feel like he is just throwing units and seeing what sticks, and this definitely is going to stick.
I think Dada's comment in the chat's very good. Neb's been a bit sloppy in finishing this off. I think potentially getting a little bit hyped up that he could beat somebody as good as Nagnar in this series. Maybe that's making him a little shaky. But I think he's going to regain his composure here. It's almost an impossible position to lose from. It's just a matter of time.
Yes, I think that's a very adept analysis of the situation there, Rabbit. Definitely just, GG is
That's it, GG. Neblime has come back from 3-0 down. I think we called a sweep a turnaround as a joke. Honestly,
deserved 3-4. Neblime very much deserved that one.
He just totally switched his style, almost like on a penny. He was like, oh well, this macro style's not working. Waiting for Nagnar to get too strong's not working. I'm gonna have to harass and trouble him all game long, and it worked. And ironically enough, the first of the 4 games that Neblime won was probably the closest. And then from there, he just got stronger and stronger and stronger. And I think Nagnar lost a little bit of patience. Was a little bit more aggressive than he had been in the first few games, and that certainly helped Neblime. But I think it was more a case of Neblime improving in the last 4 games than it was Nagnar maybe not playing as well. But what a series! I'm still I'm out of breath